You're listening to the Sports Blast, wrapping up your week in Boston sports every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Right here on 1460 WXBR.
And welcome back to the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR. Remember, you can call us at 508-588-9927. That's 508-588-WXBR. And be sure to check us out online as well, sportsblast.co. That is sportsblast.co. Now, in the opening segment, guys, we made fun of Jose Iglesias a lot and the fact that he's such a defensive stud that he botched that double play and allowed the Red Sox to get back into the game and finish off the Tigers in 6 games. I want to now move on to someone else, and although it's a moot point now that the Red Sox won, I want to talk about some questionable managerial decisions by John Farrell. For example, lifting Clay Buchholz early for Franklin Morales. Now, I understand that Buchholz, we all saw his velocity dropped quite considerably down the stretch in that game. He fell down to 88, 89 miles an hour on his fastball.
Yeah, fairly low. Yeah.
Right, but if you're going to go to someone in the bullpen, I mean, there are so many options that you could go to before you get to the trio of Tazawa, Breslow, and Uehara. Brandon Workman, maybe Felix Dubron, who's pitched well in this postseason. I mean, I really didn't get the decision to go to Morales in that situation.
Well, Workman got his number called, but, before Workman was Franklin Morales, and, it was a head-scratcher for sure, You just look at Morales. He's a left-handed pitcher. He's going to face lefties. But why wouldn't you go with Workman and then go Breslow and then, go Tazawa and then go Uehara? Instead of throwing Morales out there, you don't know what you're going to get out of Morales. He's always a shaky pitcher. He always has been. He gives up home runs. He gives up walks. He loves to give up walks. He just throws balls. I can count on 5 straight pitches, 5 straight balls. And that was insane. I was like, after that, why did you put him in?
That's one of the most questionable moves so far that John Farrell has made in this postseason. And to bring in a guy that's that cold at that point in time, and he didn't perform well the first time that he showed up in the postseason as well. You've got people in the bullpen that can get the job done. If you don't feel comfortable going to Workman, go to Breslow. Let him pitch his 2 innings. The guy's been lights out the entire postseason. Do not put in someone that maybe he had confidence in him, but I don't understand the confidence in him. He didn't have confidence in himself. He couldn't throw a strike.
And my thing is, you look at Clay Buchholz. He was pitching. He had a total of 85 pitches, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 hits in 5 1/3 innings. I believe it was.
Yeah.
So why would you give up on one of your starting pitchers who you have faith in? He only gave up 4 hits in that time frame, and then he only gave up 2 walks. So I mean, he was pitching solid. He had 56 strikes. It was unbearable to watch Farrell to come on the mound and just take off Morales, because Morales. Put on Morales and take off Buchholz. So it wasn't a great move.
508-588-9927. I also am looking at some of Brandon Workman's stats in the postseason here. He's pitched well, 4 games. He's gone 5 1/3 innings, allowed 4 hits, no earned runs, allowed 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. So not exactly blowing people away, but he has been, serviceable. Felix Dubron also has been good in the postseason. He's made 2 appearances, gone 2 1/3, gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Right. Again, guys that are better options than Franklin Morales. So I really didn't understand the decision to go to Morales in that situation. And I don't think he's going to pitch again at all in the postseason.
Right. Yeah, he had the option to go to probably 5 different guys. In my opinion, you go with either Craig Breslow, Dempster, Dubron, Tazawa even. You don't want to bring Tazawa in, I understand that, until the 7th or 8th inning. But when you have an opportunity to, I thought, number one, maybe he pulled Clay Buchholz a little too early, and earlier in the series, he left Clay Buchholz in too long. So I don't know if he's second-guessing himself or if that first appearance by Buchholz in the series kind of made the decision for him.
Yeah.
Because Buchholz, as you saw, once he stopped pitching well, he unraveled, and the Sox were down 5-0 in that game.
And there was a game in the Tampa series that Breslow went more than 1 inning. He went 2 innings. I mean, regardless of the work that he was putting in, he wasn't tired. I mean, his stamina's up. put him in. And then he goes to Workman right after Morales. It's like, why didn't you just go with Workman to begin with? Instead of putting your back against the wall with a risky move like Franco Morales.
Right, and I was a little surprised to see that Morales did, in fact, make the World Series roster. I thought he'd be the odd man out, maybe for an extra bat like Lavarnway. In a series like this, it's going to be, obviously, it's the World Series, so you've got a lot of National League games in between, games 3, 4, and 5. You're going to see some pinch hitting and things like that. So maybe you can afford to lose a pitcher and put in an extra bat, whether it's Lavarnway or maybe Jackie Bradley Jr. or something. They didn't make a move.
Yeah, I agree. They got really right now. They have 7 guys in their bullpen, right, including Morales and the few that I just named, including Uehara. They have options, but it's not as if their bullpen is stacked up right now for the postseason. So maybe he thinks, I might need Morales at a certain point. But I think that you have your 2 long relievers in Dubront and Dempster. And then you go to Breslow, you go to Tozawa and Uehara. And the thing about it is, for me, that I don't think you're going to need too many long relief pitchers. I don't know if you need Morales in that bullpen right now, because if you need to go to the long relief pitchers that much in this World Series, you probably aren't coming out victorious.
Right. No, I predict a lot of low-scoring games. There's going to be a lot of pitchers' duels. You've got Lester and Wainwright going tonight. Another guy that St. Louis has, a young 22-year-old Waka. I remember we were calling him Waka Flocka Flame is what I was calling him. So,
yeah.
I mean, this guy is money, so it'll be interesting to see these guys firsthand. And another questionable decision that I didn't like, that we argued a little bit before we went on the air, was in Game 5. Xander Bogaerts has a leadoff walk in the top of the 9th inning. The Red Sox are clinging to a 1-run lead. The decision to pinch run Will Middlebrooks for Xander Bogaerts in that instance, I didn't understand it. Now, you could argue that Xander Bogaerts isn't a great base runner. We saw that, I believe, in Game 4. But if you're going to pinch run someone, pinch run Quentin Berry. And especially when you have David Ross sacrifice bunting, why pinch run at all in that instance? I know that you want to get, if you're John Farrell, you want to get Will Middlebrooks in as a defensive substitution. But you don't have to insert him as a pinch runner. That made no sense to me. However, I guess, Farrell gets the last laugh because Will Middlebrooks ended up getting the third base because Miguel Cabrera ended up charging.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that you're right. John Farrell got the last laugh, and for all the complaining we're doing right now, the Red Sox are in the World Series, and John Farrell, we were talking about it just before the show. He stayed true to form, and it got him here. He stuck with the people that he believed in, the people that he thought would get the Red Sox through to the World Series, and it worked. So, I mean, putting Middlebrooks on maybe for a little bit more experience on the base path, besides having Xander Bogaerts or Quentin Berry go out there. I guess I can't really second guess it at this point. Except for the Morales thing, there's definitely moves that you can look at. But as far as what he's done so far, he stayed true to form, and they're in the World Series.
Well, to your point, Dave, this is Boston. That's how we do it. We'll always find the negative, even when things are going great. That's how we do it here. Anyways, we're up against another break here. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR.
Every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You've seen me around the neighborhood, and you've told me I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm 1 out of every 4 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we could grow up and be whatever we want. I want to grow up and be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everyone. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Are you struggling with your mortgage payments? Call 888-995-HOPE to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about your options. Or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Stack their desks one atop the other, and it's a pile more than 17,000 feet high. Go to boostup.org and learn how you can help. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Can you tell if the surfaces in this kitchen are crawling with bacteria that could cause chronic arthritis? Listen. Can't, can you? You can't see it either. Wash surfaces, utensils, and hands frequently with soapy water while preparing food, especially when handling raw meats or eggs. Raw food may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year, and roughly 3,000 will die. But you can keep your family safer by cleaning with soap and water as you go. Learn more about this and other important information. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. That's foodsafety.gov. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Confusion ever someone or have sudden...
Have you ever had sudden confusion, trouble speaking, or understanding someone?
It could be one of the 5 signs of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Suddenly having trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
Don't wait. Call 911 immediately.
Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Can you tell if this burger contains bacteria that could cause kidney failure? Listen. You can't see it either. Use a food thermometer to be sure you've cooked meat and poultry to a bacteria-killing temperature. Raw or undercooked meat may contain bacteria that can make you very sick, or worse. Roughly 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year, but you can keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Time now for your WXBR Sports Blast headlines.
For the 4th time in franchise history, the Boston Red Sox will take on the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. First pitch is tonight at 8:07. John Lester gets the ball for the Sox. Adam Wainwright will get the start for the Cardinals. Here are tonight's lineups, 1 through 9. For the Sox, Jacoby Ellsbury leads off in center. Shane Victorino in right. Dustin Pedroia at second. David Ortiz is the DH. Mike Napoli at first. Johnny Gomes gets the start in left. Xander Bogaerts is in at third. Stephen Drew is the shortstop. And David Ross bats ninth at catcher. For the Cardinals, Matt Carpenter bats first and plays second base. Carlos Beltran is in at right. Matt Holliday is in left. Adam Craig makes his postseason debut as the DH. Yadier Molina will catch. David Freese is at third. Matt Adams at first. Shane Robinson in right. Pete Kozma plays short and bats ninth. Rob Gronkowski made his 2013 debut on Sunday as the Patriots lost to the New York Jets 30-27 in overtime. The Pats will play the 3-3 Miami Dolphins this Sunday at Gillette Stadium. Kickoff is set for 1 o'clock. Chad Johnson will get his first start in net tonight as the Bruins wrap up a 3-game road trip against the Buffalo Sabres. Puck drop is at 8, and the Celtics finish up their preseason tonight at home against the Brooklyn Nets. Tip-off was at 7 o'clock. The Celtics begin their regular season play on October 30th in Toronto against the Raptors. Those are your Sports Hub headlines. Be sure to check out our website at www.sportsblast.co and tweet us at 1460 SportsBlast. That's at 1460 SportsBlast. I'm David Pollard. Don't go anywhere. The Sports Blast continues right now.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Blast, 508-588-9927. And what you were just listening to was what they were playing at Fenway Park just a couple days ago after they secured the American League pennant. It was a remix of Started From the Bottom, Now We're Here, and Till I Collapse, which is a fantastic song, by the way.
It gets me amped.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I actually walked out to that for high school basketball games, and it made me reminisce of that, so that's kind of cool.
There's some awesome songs. That's one of them. So getting back to the World Series, which is now about 37 minutes away from first pitch.
I'm getting goosebumps.
I am. I'm so excited right now.
I'm right now.
Aren't
the
you?
World Series.
I know.
So
I just keep looking up at the TV. I'm like,
and that song does make you think where the Red Sox came from too, right? Starting from the bottom, which they did. They were worst last year, and they went literally worst to first in one season.
You can't get much lower than Bobby V.
Till I Collapse, by the way. Remember a couple of years ago when they blew it with a 9-game lead and 22 games left in the season? Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
This is unbelievable coming off of the collapse like that a few years ago, and then coming off the season they had last year with Bobby Valentine, their worst record since 1965. This is awesome.
The Red Sox are
welcome thrill.
The Red Sox are kind of like the V in Bobby V. They were up, then they went down in the basement, but now they're up. See you later, Bobby V.
Oh, man.
He must be ticked. Isn't he doing commentary, too? And he has to
but he actually came out and said that if he was managing the Red Sox right now, they'd be in the same...
Yeah, he did say that.
Oh, yeah.
I really doubt that.
Well,
Shut up, Bobby V.
The thing about that is, Bobby, you had a chance to manage the Red Sox, basically pretty much the same team, and guess where they wound up? In the basement.
In talent-wise,
bottom of the barrel.
And you could argue, talent-wise, he had more talent. He had Adrian Gonzalez over Mike Napoli. I'm sorry, I'm taking Adrian Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Carl Crawford, okay, fine, we'll just ignore that
healthy
one because he didn't
Carl Crawford.
Yeah, but he wasn't, he was...
No, but we saw a healthy Carl Crawford this year, and we can see what he would do.
But Bobby's just being bitter about this whole thing, and I mean, like, Sacred Heart's doing well, so maybe he's got something going there as the athletic director. Anyways, like I said, we are nearing first pitch here with Adam Wainwright taking on John Lester. Guys, I want to get into some predictions here. I got the Sox beating the Cardinals in 6. How about you?
I agree. I think the Red Sox will...
What? We agree for once.
Yeah, I really think the Red Sox will beat the Cardinals in 6. It's going to be a great battle, and the Red Sox are going to be ready.
Well, I'm agreeing with you guys on the Victor. Taking it a little longer, though. I think a 7-game series. I think that the similarities between these two teams are striking, and I think it's going to be a really long series. Considering the starting pitching that we're going to be up against, we don't get to see St. Louis that much, but from what I know, Waka, he's 3-0 with a .43 ERA right now and 22 strikeouts over 3 games. The guy is lights out, so he 1-2 at least. Adam Wainwright up again and Waka, when you consider John Lester and John Lackey are your 1 and 2s.
Yep.
I think that they have a slight advantage over you there, and it's interesting to see where the teams would really have advantages over each other because it's so close. It really is. They both had 97 and 65 records this season.
Right.
Best in both leagues. And this doesn't. I think it's the third time in World Series history that the best from the NL and the AL actually meet each other in the World Series.
It's literally the best versus the best.
Mm-hmm. And going back to your point about Michael Wacha, it's not like he just started pitching well like this in the postseason. Like David said, we don't get to see the St. Louis Cardinals all that much. But pulling up his stats from the regular season, in 64 2/3 innings, he had a 2.78 ERA with 65 strikeouts. So
I think one of the highest in the NL, maybe behind Cole and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So this guy scares me. He's a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah, crazy.
Going up against John Lackey, who's been phenomenal in these playoffs. But the way the Red Sox have been swinging the bats, going back to the ALCS, I would not be surprised to see double-digit strikeouts with this kid.
Yeah, the Red Sox are batting .236 in this playoffs, and Cardinals are struggling themselves. So it's really going to be a battle, a tested battle. It's going to be who can outweigh each other, methodically, strategically, with the managers John Farrell and Mike Matheny?
Mike Matheny, that's right. Yeah, no, and one thing that's going to be interesting to watch is both teams have very good bullpens.
Right.
With us, excluding Franklin Morales, of course. But, you look at the Cardinals bullpen and all the names they have and their closer, it's going to come down to Craig Breslow, Junichi Tozawa, and Koji Uehara on the Red Sox side. And on the Cardinals side, who's their closer? We're talking about this.
It's Trevor Rosenthal, who can fire a fastball.
He's a rookie
triple digits consistently.
So
he's got some heat, and they're not unlike us in the bullpen. Basically, they've got someone that can match up with Craig Breslow in Carlos Martinez, who's pitched 6 2/3 innings, and 2 earned runs for a 2.70 ERA. And again, Breslow hasn't allowed a run this postseason, but that's someone that you can kind of say, okay, there's your Breslow matchup. And they have those all up and down the bullpen. They've got Randy Choate and Seth Manis right now. Both have pitched 2 2/3 innings. They haven't allowed a run. They'd be equivalent to probably your Tozawa and your Workman.
Yeah, and a quick stat. The Red Sox, Uehara and Tozawa, they have a 1.40 ERA combined. Carlos Martinez, who is a rookie, has a 2.70 ERA, and Trevor Rosenthal, who's a rookie, has not let up a run in his 7 innings of play. Combine that for a 1.35 ERA. And Breslow for the Red Sox has not gave up a run this playoffs.
So, and another thing that I'm going to be keeping my eye on is Yadier Molina, because this is a team in the Red Sox that likes to steal at the top of the order, take a lot of stolen bases with Jacoby Ellsbury and Shane Victorino running. They hit and run a lot. And with Yadier Molina, he has been one of the best defensive catchers, and he's had a great caught-stealing rate over the last 5 years.
40%.
So there you go, yeah.
This season, 40%, and not a lot of attempts against him either. I don't have the exact number, but I think it's below 70 on the attempts against Yadier Molina, which just tells me that
I think it was 67 or
players
something
just
like
gave
that.
up trying to steal.
And I think tonight you're going to see guys like Jacoby Ellsbury and Shane Victorino kind of test him. Game 1, it's a little bit safe. You're at home. You've got a finesse pitcher on the mound for the Cardinals in Adam Wainwright, because I think when Waka takes the mound, they're going to be a little bit more wary of taking off on a guy that can hit you, 98, 99 mile an hour fastball.
Yeah, put him to the test right away. I mean, if he's thrown out 40% of runners, that's a staggering statistic for a catcher right there.
Mm-hmm.
But the Red Sox are among the best in the league at stealing bases, so you got strength against strength right there. Let's see who comes out on top. I would think that if Ellsbury gets on early, test him early, get a sense of whether or not you're going to be able to take a bag from this guy, because if you can't, you might have to find a different way to manufacture runs.
And Molina has 0 pass balls this playoffs.
Great defensive player.
87 putouts, too. So it's going to be tough for the Red Sox to try to steal at least 1 base per game.
508-588-9927. Before we go to commercial, I just want to ask you guys real quick, how many games, let's say this goes 7 games, right? How many games do you think Xander Bogaerts is going to be in for Will Middlebrooks? I'm thinking all of them. This kid has shown that he belongs in the lineup over Middlebrooks.
Yeah, I really agree. He's batting 500 this playoffs with a 7.27 on-base percentage. 5 walks, so he likes to work the count. 1 strikeout. A 1,000 slugging percentage.
All doubles. All doubles for him. And 8 out of 11 times this guy has reached base. Put him in every single game until he cools off, because right now he's getting the best looks at the plate, and he seems to be the guy that you want to turn to at the moment if you're looking for a little bit of an X factor in this series.
He can just flat out play the game of baseball. He's a great fielder, and he can hit for average, and that's what you want if you're the Red Sox right now, because Will Middlebrooks ain't giving you nothing.
All right, another quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with 5 questions on 1460 WXBR.
Perfect Parent, brought to you by AdoptUsKids.org.
I might look like an adult, like a person who could possibly be a parent, but I have no idea how to talk like one. And everyone knows that if you want to be a parent, you have to sound good when you say things like, "Don't make me turn this car around," or "Because I said so," or "Don't make me come back there." I don't even really know what those things mean, but I know that I actually believed my parents when they said them to me. How did they manage to sound so convincing? Here we go. "Don't make me come back there." Ugh, no, that's not tough enough at all. Kids can sense weakness. "Don't make me come back there." Ooh, yeah, that's better. In fact, that kind of sounded like my dad. Weird.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to listen to you practice your dad voice. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit AdoptUsKids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Why pay too much for insurance? Instead, call the Good Ale Company for a free personalized insurance estimate. A family-owned and operated insurance company for over 50 years, they were just awarded the best insurance agency on the South Shore in the Wicked Local Readers' Choice Awards. The Good Ale Company is committed to offering high-value, low-cost insurance personalized to meet your needs. Call the Good Ale Company at 781-383-0787 and ask for Craig Martin. Located on 3A in Cohasset, the Good Ale Company works hard to find you the highest quality insurance at the lowest price possible while providing customer service with a personal touch.
My name is Dale Pazinski, and this is how I live United. I volunteer with United Way, helping the homeless in my community by teaching computer skills and helping them build a basic resume to save on their very own USB drive. It's huge when somebody says, "Hey man, that job that you helped me apply for, I got it." My name is Dale Pazinski. I help people achieve financial independence. So I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You know that the ice cream scoop can make a child smile, and that by slowing us down, the traffic light can keep us going. You know that the lawnmower makes life easier, that the blood bank makes life possible. But did you know all these ideas came from the minds of African Americans? Support the United Negro College Fund, because a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Visit uncf.org or call 1-800-332-UNCF. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Ranger Station.
Hi, I want to report a bear sighting.
Location.
My front door. It was Smokey Bear. My husband was burning leaves in the yard. He just came inside for a second.
Never leave a fire unattended. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
Smokey said that too.
We go way back. I knew him when he was just a cub.
How cute.
If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by Smokey Bear, the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hello?
Hi, I found your name on the internet. I'm going through a foreclosure. Can you help me?
Absolutely, ma'am. What we do is simple. We leverage your transitory expenditures into a fiduciary trust to help keep your equity totally solvent. Then we're going to blah your assets to hedge against any impending IPOs or DVDs. Now, it's important to massage the assets, then exfoliate and apply a light cream. Standard procedure. And then, of course, that money goes into my private account.
I don't get it.
Well, you don't have to.
If you're facing foreclosure, there are a lot of companies promising to help you. All of the information can be really confusing. But who should you trust? The Hope Hotline. The Hope Hotline is a free resource connecting you with HUD-approved housing counseling agencies, available 24 hours a day, who understand your situation. Since 2007, they've helped over 5 million people get the clarity and information they need. Call the Hope Hotline at 888-995-HOPE. That's 888-995-4673. Brought to you by NeighborWorks America and the Ad Council.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
It's time for 5 questions.
5 is right out.
You don't have to answer that question. I'll answer this question. On 1460 WXBR.
Thank you for all your cooperation.
Welcome back. It's the Sports Blast, 508-588-9927. That's 508-588-WXBR. Remember to check us out online, sportsblast.co. That is sportsblast.co. A lot of good stuff on there, like what? Archived audio, guys?
Yeah.
YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of that is on sportsblast.co. Check it out. It is time for my favorite segment called 5 Questions. Guess who's hosting this one?
You.
That's right. It's my turn, finally.
I'm scared of this episode of 5 Questions.
Me too.
All right, so guys, I want to preface my first question by actually playing a piece of sound that I asked Dave. He doesn't know what it is, but I'm just going to ask you, Dave, to cue up that sound that I gave you. You don't have it yet? Oh, he said
Don't
no.
have it yet, I'm sorry.
He doesn't have it yet, but while he's over there, fine, I'll just tell you and then we can play the sound. So we all know that Mayor Menino actually had another one of his famous sports flubs this past, what was it, yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
He said something along the lines of, once Dave gets that up, we can play it. He said, I hope the Red Sox win the World Series Cup, which just got me thinking to myself, why does this guy try? Why does he still do this? So my question to you guys is, of all of his sports gaffes in the recent years, which one is your favorite?
I gotta go with KJ and Hondo. He got one abbreviated letter correct, but then messed up on the last one. He's close, but and then Hondo. I mean, that's just
John Havlicek.
Yeah, that's just a mess up itself. The quote is KG is great, but Hondo is really the inspiration. Hondo drives that team.
All right, guys, I got that sound.
All right, let's go ahead and
right
play
now.
it.
We're gonna play it.
Everything okay?
In
With it?
2007.
Oh, here we go.
Why are we rooting hard to bring back the World Series Cup to Boston like we did in 2004 and 2007?
Oh, so the Red Sox are now playing soccer, it seems.
World Series Cup, man.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave? What's your favorite of all time?
It's got to be Grakowski and Wilcock because it was definitely the most egregiously offensive.
You know, with me, I actually have a list here. Before we go on to question 2, I just want to read out all of these. You guys already mentioned KJ and Hondo and Wilcott and Weckler. World Series Cup. Veritek splitting the uprights, obviously.
That's a good one, too.
I think my favorite, though, other than the Ionic sports moments, we also have covalent sports moments, but Donald Stearns, when he was talking about David Stern, had to be one of my absolute favorite ones. So, a lot of fun.
How old is Mayor Menino?
I think he's, 65?
He is 65?
Something like that.
See, there's a lot of teams in the Boston area that are pretty good, are really good, actually. So it's really tough to keep up with the players. I'm trying to defend him, but at the same time,
You're just failing miserably by trying.
Yeah, exactly. But, his sports knowledge must
70,
not...
by the way. 70 years old.
Wow. Well, his sports knowledge must not be there right now, but...
I don't think it was ever there.
I don't think... Yeah. But we were kind of talking, before the show that... Do you really think that Mayor Menino does that for real, or is it just fake?
At this point, it's got to be a shtick that he just.
I
keeps
really
up,
think so. Why not?
He's
You're on a
making fun of
roll right
himself.
now. Just keep the ball rolling.
I just don't understand how he can make the same mistake over and over again. At this point, it just feels like it's forced, and he's just finding ways to screw up names and just botch players and things like that. It's hilarious. KJ and Hondo.
He's so close too. I just feel bad because he's
I mean, he's getting old. I know he's not feeling well lately, too.
He just needs a minor touch on his sports knowledge.
Really,
I think he'll be all right.
The thing that croaked him was being the mayor of Boston with all the championship teams that we have. If he was somewhere like, I don't know, Jacksonville, maybe maybe he wouldn't have to give these sports speeches so much. But I don't know why they keep having him do it. He screws up
as long as we win, we'll see it.
He just wants to preach to the welcoming people of Boston.
Yeah.
Rob Grabowski. All right, guys. Question number 2. Jacoby Ellsbury is about 2 weeks away from free agency. Are these his last games in a Red Sox uniform, or will he end up re-signing?
I think that, it scares me that they wouldn't re-sign him, but, you look at Hunter Pence probably is the guy who they're looking at as a breaking point, or, I'm sorry, who Scott Boras would be looking at as a guy to level Jacoby Ellsbury up against, and what's Pence making, $20 million per year?
Something crazy, I can look it up.
I think that the Sox... I want to re-sign the guy. I don't think they will because I think that Ellsbury's going to be a little too rich for their blood, and it's going to be unfortunate to see him go.
Here's my take. I really think Jacoby Ellsbury will stay if the Red Sox don't win the World Series. If they do, there's no point in him really staying around. He won a World Series with the Red Sox. I really feel like money will play a role. But if he wants to stay, he's going to have to avoid Scott Boras' input. And he's just going to have to go with his heart. And he has a fit with the Red Sox right now, and he's just flowing. Why would you want to interrupt that flow that you have going in the routines and, just the spirit and the belief in this team? And, I just think money shouldn't play a role with him.
By the way, Hunter Pence, that was 5 years, $90 million, Dave. So that's something. And
that's relatively close to Red Sox's ballpark.
So it's something like $18 million per year?
He wanted, I think from what Brian told me off the air a while ago, he said he was looking for 5 years, 75, which is totally
15
doable.
Mil.
Yeah. That's totally
doable. If you're looking at Ellsbury. But the thing is with Boras, he's a greedy agent, and he usually winds up getting the money that he wants for his players. And sometimes when you're dealing with this guy, it doesn't go the way that you would want it to go as a fan or as a part of the managerial team of whatever team that you're dealing with. If you're dealing with Scott Boras,
see, I think it's the other way around. I feel like the players actually voice their opinion to Scott Boras, and Scott Boras goes and gets that money. Because you look at Robinson Cano, he wants, what, $300 million from the next team he signs with? Which probably won't be which probably won't be the Yankees, or probably be the Dodgers, if anything. But, I really think if Jacoby Ellsbury wants a price on his tag, I really feel like he's gonna ask Scott Boras for it more than anything. So.
All right, well, there you go. Question number 3, guys. Peyton Manning is currently sitting at 25 touchdowns through the first 7 games, and he's on pace to surpass Tom Brady's single-season touchdown record by about 7, it looks like. Will he, or will he fall just short?
That's a tough one because it gets harder.
That's why I had you go
towards
first.
towards the end of the regular season, and it's not like the Broncos don't already have a target on their back. But I think as the year goes on, and I'm not 100% sure on the schedule that the Broncos have, you're gonna get teams playing a lot tighter against the Broncos. You saw Jacksonville actually stand up to them not long ago, and then they lost to the Colts this week, and really until the very end of that game. The Broncos offense couldn't get it going. So I think he will be under Brady's record by the end of the season just because it's going to get tougher as the year goes on.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this week, it's going to be tough for him to go up against. I really have faith in the Redskins' defense, but I don't know why I would. But I just like the players that they have on that roster. I really think the Redskins could upset Denver, but I wouldn't say Manning beats Brady. I really wouldn't. Manning has all the weapons around him to do so, but the way Brady's performance when he broke that record was just incredible. It was just a highlight in his career, his long career, and Manning, he's had everything, and I really think that Manning will do what is best for the team. I feel like, and Denver Broncos have a complete team with their defense and running game. So I think the running game actually, doesn't help Manning's argument to beat Tom Brady.
All right, question number 4, guys. The Celtics open the regular season in a little over a week. Will they break the 500 mark this season, or are they going to go into an absolute tailspin and just float into mediocrity forever this season?
I'll take this one first. I think the Celtics can go 42-39.
42-39. Okay.
But I think they miss the playoffs.
I can see your heart breaking over there. Just even hearing the question mark. I think I don't know. I'm very unbiased when it comes to the Celtics, and I think it's a bottom of the barrel type of year for them. If they want to do the rebuilding thing, they got to kind of tank it, right?
Exactly. I'm so glad you said that.
Come in last place, go out, get your draft pick, rebuild. Be better later.
I'm so glad you said that. I absolutely subscribe to the belief that if you are going to blow it up and start from scratch, especially in this scenario where you shipped out so many important cornerstones, you've got to absolutely tank this season. Why try to win 41 games that you probably will win?
That's kind of cool, but you're not answering questions this week. You're asking them.
Well, that's true. That's a good point, Mark. But Brian's not here, so I'm going to answer on his behalf. I know
but
go ahead.
My thing with the Celtics, they have too much talent to be that bad this year. You look at if Rondo comes back, you're talking Rondo, Avery Bradley, Gerald Wallace, Jared Sullinger, Kelly Olynyk, or Chris Humphries, and then you have Marshawn Brooks and Phil Pressey maybe coming off the bench with Brandon Bass maybe. I really think Brandon Bass will be a good bench player, but I just don't see them actually tanking. You just can't tank. I want them to tank, but you can't tank.
Okay, Mark, I got a follow-up question.
I want Wiggins. I want Wiggins over a subpar season.
I understand that.
But
my question to you is, what do you think? First off, what's best case scenario for the Celtics this season with the lineup they got if they play their hardest and they go for a playoff position this year? And what do you think is actually the Celtics' plan this season? Do you think that they're planning to tank it a little bit? In the back of your mind?
I really feel like they need to, but you got Jeff Green, Avery Bradley, Rondo. You have so much talent on that team.
You just don't want to give it up.
Actually, not to be good,
Right.
Well, my thing is, all right. Let's look back at 2006-2007 season. They played terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
They actually didn't get the first pick in the draft. That's why I'm worried.
They actually wanted Greg Oden, by the way.
They wanted Greg Oden, which would have been terrible. But my thing is, their season, you just can't tank. You know, it's unbearable for them to tank.
All right, before we move on to question 5, I just want to finish my point before Mark so rudely cut me off. Is that, Mark, you have to tank. You look at the draft next year. It's being compared to the 2003 draft. We all know the names that came out of that draft. You want to be a lottery team and get one of those high draft picks, because if you make the playoffs...
How do you tank, Ashish?
Just delay Rondo's return.
Play like
crap.
Yeah,
play like crap. Find ways. It starts with the GM. It doesn't go to Brad Stevens, the head coach. So we'll see. But I think that's what they should do. You're gonna make the playoffs, squeak in as a 7th or 8th seed, and get swept in the first round by Miami. So that doesn't make any sense. Now we are a minute away from break. So quickly, guys.
And they got
number 5.
They got those first round picks for a reason. So.
Exactly, they did. So they can stack up.
I can't take back that.
Question number 5, guys. Before the break. We are up against Halloween in 8 days?
Yep.
Favorite horror movie?
Oh my gosh. Top of my head, you know what? I'm going classic with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I know you said you didn't like A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm just trying to think through. Recently, I'm going Cabin in the Woods, actually. Changing my answer because I thought that movie was funny and scary, and it was one of the most entertaining recent horror movies I've seen. There's not a lot of good ones out.
Yeah, there's really not a lot of good horror movies, and I can't really put my mind to one. I'm thinking Halloween. Just because Halloween is Halloween, and nothing scares you more than Michael Myers.
There it is.
That's definitely a good pick as well. Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, all of those classics.
Michael Myers, baby. That's what I'm going for. Halloween. I love
the
that
original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's not bad either.
That was awful.
All right. Okay, that is 5 questions. We're going to be right back with another segment called That's BS. A lot of fun right here on the Sports Blast 1460 WXBR.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Did you know that 63% of homes contain allergens from cockroaches? And that mice spread potent asthma triggers found in 82% of homes? It's true. Common household pests are major offenders on the list of indoor allergens. Learn what you can do to help your family breathe easier. Visit pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the Asthma and Allergy Foundation of America.
Are ye plagued by foreclosure? Well, here at Jim Ladd and Matey, we can stop your foreclosure now. We're a mortgage rescue company, and for the small fee of everything you hold dear, we will negotiate with your lender on your behalf. Call Jim Ladd and Matey at 1-800-YAR-YAR. That's 1-800-YAR. YAR.
If you're facing foreclosure, talk to the right people. Speak with HUD-approved housing counselors free of charge at 888-995-HOPE. Brought to you by NeighborWorks America and the Ad Council.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling people not to smoke around your kids.
Half of U.S. kids are exposed to secondhand smoke. If you or someone you know wants help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
I'm Rachel Ray, and food is not only the way I make my living, it's how I spend time with my family and friends. It's hard to imagine true hunger, but sadly, 1 in 6 Americans don't know where their next meal will come from. They're your neighbors, your friends, your coworkers. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger to find out how you can make a difference. I'm Rachel Ray, and together, we are Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Romaine. As a former model, I used to walk runways all over the world. Paris, Milan, New York. This is Salif Diarra. As a local health worker, he walks the pathways of his village in Mali, West Africa every day to help treat severely ill children. Like many children in the developing world, those in Salif's village are threatened by common illnesses that kill millions worldwide. But unlike villages without a local health worker, the children in Salif's village get the care they need to survive. And even though you can't walk in his shoes, you can help him with his work. Help one, save many. See where the good goes at goodgoes.org and find out all the ways you can help get the good where it needs to go. Brought to you by Save the Children and the Ad Council.
It's time for That's BS.
That's some bullshit! Bullshit! He's a liar. He's lying to us, man.
I don't believe you.
That's BS.
I'm sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
Welcome back to the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR. Remember, you can call us at 508-588-9927. That's 508-588-WXBR. It's time for That's BS, where we basically call out all coaches, athletes, public figures on anything and everything they say that we think is absolutely BS, starting with some comments LeBron had about Paul Pierce and KG owing Ray Allen an apology last week. Now, Mark, I believe you have some insider info on this.
Yes, the quote was from New York Daily News. All right, so the first thing that I thought was like, wow, Ray got killed for leaving Boston, and now these guys are leaving Boston. I think it's okay. I don't mind it. But there was a couple of guys that basically criticized Ray for leaving, and everybody else is leaving. That's the nature of the business, man. I don't know what Boston was going through at the end of the day. I know Ray had to make the best decision for him, his family, and his career. Doc, KG, Paul did that as well. Now, my thing is, looking back at the trade between the Nets and Celtics, how was that trade completed?
Danny Ainge, he didn't ask. He just told KG and Paul that was what was going to happen. And he sent off Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry to the Brooklyn Nets for all these guys, these new guys, Gerald Wallace, Chris Humphries, Marshawn Brooks was also a part of that deal, and a bunch of first-round picks. So what's surprising about that?
Problem. KG had a no-trade clause, boys.
He waived it, so?
He waived his no-trade clause. So when LeBron was a free agent and he left Cleveland to Miami to win a championship, what did everybody do? He bashed on him. Mm-hmm. What about Ray Allen? When Boston threw more money and more years towards his way, what did he do? He went to Miami for less money and wanted to win a championship. What did KG and Paul Pierce do? They left Boston and went to the Brooklyn Nets to win.
Well, I mean, it's not, both of them, you'll understand, did not want to have to do this. Now, granted, they did not want to be a part of the rebuilding.
KG had a no-trade clause. He could have said, no, I'm saying...
No, but the thing is, what you're missing is that it took him a while, and he finally accepted it. Trust me, KG did not want to leave Boston. He did, however, not also want to be a part of a rebuilding process. Ray Allen was not leaving a rebuilding process. He was leaving a core that was intact. He just took off. With these guys, they have, 1 year left, maybe, or 2 years. And then that's it. So with them, with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, they said, all right, if you're going to trade me to start from scratch, Danny Ainge, at least trade me to a contender. And I have no problem with that. I have a problem with LeBron's comments because they were totally unwarranted and uncalled for. What happens in that locker room when a former player comes back is between those guys. Why are you butting into it?
It's just backing up LeBron himself. He's tired of being criticized for the decision that he made, in which he actually raised charity money for. But I think that Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett are kind of hypocritical, if you ask me. They really are hypocritical because, they threw Ray under the bus for leaving Boston, and then what do? They leave Boston. That's my point. KG had a no-trade clause. If he wanted to stay in Boston and change Danny Ainge's mind, he would have said, no, Danny, I'm staying here. I'm staying in Boston. You can take your plans and put them elsewhere because I'm not going through with that. And we're actually going to hold down for another one or two more years.
But the thing is, we could spin that another way, and we could say there was absolutely no way that would have worked. We wanted, as much as I love Kevin Garnett as a player, I didn't want him here anymore. I liked this deal. I loved this deal. When I saw that we were sending away some of these old veteran players that gave us a lot of years here in Boston and got back a ton of first-round picks, I loved the deal, to be honest with you.
I got a question for both of you guys. Just the feeling of the team, basically, when both of these trades happened. When Ray Allen left, it sort of still felt like the Celtics had a shot at making a run, at least for another year. And maybe that was why it came off a lot more sore when Ray Allen left. Right now, I mean, when KG and Paul Pierce left, did anyone really feel like the Celtics had a good shot at winning a championship?
Not at
My
all.
thing is, when KG signed that 2-year contract in 2011, I believe, 2010, the extension, didn't he?
No,
he
Kevin
resigned,
Garnett.
didn't he resign with the Celtics?
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah,
no, you're thinking of Paul Pierce, right? Paul Pierce signed a 4-year extension, I believe, at
Then
the end of 2009.
Well,
10.
they must have extended KG's contract because in the contract there was a no trade clause. And
Didn't he have that left over from Minnesota?
No.
Or was that?
I'm pretty sure
okay.
that was part of
All
the
right.
deal that Danny Ainge signed Kevin Garnett with.
Okay.
And that's my point. I think Danny Ainge saw that coming, and he said, you know what? I'm going to actually put the deal in the hands of Kevin Garnett. So, one, I don't get backlash for putting Kevin Garnett in a trade. But two, so that he can decide what he really wants. Does he want to stay with the Boston Celtics, or does he want to go to the Brooklyn Nets? Or to the LA Clippers, or a team where he feels like he can win another NBA championship.
Okay, so you're going to say not BS on that.
Not BS. I'm not going with
Wow.
BS on that. That is a valid statement and has weight.
So you're
total
saying
weight behind it.
LeBron's statement, you're saying. Here's the reason why I think it's BS. It's just sort of mind your business, stick with your own team.
Yeah.
And I understand that Ray Allen, teammates, but
KG said the exact quote you just said.
Why are you going to say anything about a team that you have never had any affiliation with,
Right.
other than the fact that you may have been up against them in a championship for a year or two if you'd gotten there against them.
Exactly.
Do you think he's getting under the skin of the Brooklyn Net, KG and Paul Pierce?
I don't think this was a getting under the skin tactic at all. I think, why...
Brooklyn Nets are on the top of the ladder with Miami Heat.
Yeah, but I mean, if you ask me, you could even look at that as bulletin board material. So I think he was just answering a question that may or may not have been blown out of proportion, and now we're just looking at and analyzing and overanalyzing. But I do think that's BS.
As most people have done.
As most people have done. Any sports radio personality would. But yeah, I'm going to say BS. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mark. That is BS,
All right.
and I think Dave agrees with me on that front. So let's go on to the next one. We have here Jim Irsay had some thoughts about Peyton Manning on his return, his first return to Lucas Oil Stadium as a member of the Denver
home,
Broncos
Peyton Manning.
in Indianapolis. Here's a quote from Jim Irsay prior to this game. You make the playoffs 11 times, and you're out in the first round 7 of those 11 times. You love to have Star Wars numbers from Peyton, whatever that means, and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Mostly, you love this ring. So basically, he's not, I want to say, taking a total shot at Peyton Manning, but that whole thing about you make the playoffs, you make the playoffs 11 times and you're out in the first round 7 of those 11, that is a shot. That is a blatant shot at Peyton Manning, and to me, that's BS. Come on, you don't have
That's
to...
a pure call-out.
You don't need to do that, this guy.
He called him right out for everything that he did in Indianapolis, which is astonishing to me because of how much Peyton Manning did in Indianapolis. Like, what are you talking about? What are you even mentioning the first round exits for? He won you a Super Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah, he won you a Super Bowl. He got there twice. I mean, look at the number of fans that he brought in.
Thank you. I was just about to say he made that franchise.
He made the Colts.
You know what Jim Irsay should do? He should walk out to the 50-yard line at Lucas Oil Stadium and just look around and realize to himself, no Peyton Manning, no Lucas Oil Stadium.
And then wait for people to boo him. because a ton of people would have something to say to him.
You know what's really BS to me about this is that, now he's got Andrew Luck, and his team is on the upswing.
Right.
He didn't say this when the Colts were in the basement, a year ago.
No.
He didn't say anything about this. He waited until the Colts were on the upswing, and he could confidently go out and say, "We don't miss Peyton Manning. He 7 times, one and done."
Maybe Andrew Luck
What's
really.
up with that?
Yeah.
Maybe Andrew Luck really fills his need. I don't know.
And you look at most quarterbacks that are great today, guys.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, 1 ring. Ben Roethlisberger has 2. Whatever. Drew Brees, 1. So it's like, what do you expect? It's hard to get to a Super Bowl. And most times with the Colts, the road to the Super Bowl went through Foxborough. So, what do you have to complain about? You were supplied with so many memories from Peyton Manning. Total BS to make that comment.
Peyton Manning made every player around him better. And that's
absolutely true.
And that's the major point. Irsay does not have any backup to, back up that point. It's irrelevant when it comes to Peyton Manning not being one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game.
And, before we move on to the next thing, I just want to say that the true BS in that quote was the fact that he used the phrase Star Wars numbers. I think he meant to say video game numbers.
Yeah, video game numbers.
I was a little confused as to what that meant. Like, I love Star Wars. If I was a character, I'd be Han Solo, but I just didn't understand it. I didn't get the quote.
What are the numbers from Star Wars?
Yeah, it's like how many stormtroopers did Han and Luke kill? I don't get it.
Star Wars.
How many lightsabers did Luke Skywalker use?
Maybe he was just thinking as big as space, and he came up.
Yeah, when I read that, I was like, Star Wars numbers. Am I missing something? Like, what is he talking about? Like the Millennium Falcon or something?
I probably would have used like Super Mario coins.
Yeah. You'll love having the high score in Super Mario, but
seriously,
man. All right, so the next thing here on That's BS. Vontae Davis, sticking with the Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts. Cornerback Vontae Davis of the Indianapolis Colts spoke with Michelle Tafoya after the game, and this is what he had to say.
I actually have it this time.
All right, let's look.
Good week of practice. We prepared really hard for Tom Brady. So I think it just carried over from practice into the game.
I'm sorry. Wait, Dave, did he say Tom Brady?
TB. He said TB12.
Who was Vontae Davis playing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was playing the Denver Broncos.
Oh, he was.
He must be like reminiscing with his Miami Dolphin days because that is really questionable call on his part.
Embarrassing. Tom Brady? Are you kidding me? You just played Peyton Manning. What is wrong with you?
Just get off the field and start running to the locker room after that.
People tend to mention Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in the same sentence, but when you are a professional athlete and you're going up against a team whose quarterback is Peyton Manning and not Tom Brady...
Was it Michelle Tafoya that asked him the question?
Yeah, Michelle Tafoya kind of gave this blank stare after, like...
Maybe he was distracted then.
Yeah.
Possibly.
That's what I was thinking, because that's why I brought up her name. She's a very attractive woman.
Yeah, she is. So I think that's unanimous. That's BS.
For sure.
Come on, man. Get his name right. All right, last one here on That's BS.
Davis.
This one's going to make you guys laugh. The AFC West is currently owned right now. The best record are the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 7-0, the best team in the NFL record-wise.
What?
And
I don't believe you.
I know. I had to double check and rub my eyes to make sure that they were really the only unbeaten left in the NFL. And can you just imagine if they finish the season ahead of the Denver Broncos and the Broncos have to go in as a wild card team? It's not going to happen, but
I would love it though.
Let's just all reminisce in this moment right now because we all know the Broncos are going to take that division. We all know the Broncos are going to finish with the best record in the NFL. They're probably going to go 15-1.
Hindsight 2020.
Okay, fine. Well, let's use this next week if they lose this weekend.
We will see.
But I'm just saying, let's just enjoy this while we can. That the Kansas City Chiefs, the Andy Reids with Alex Smith and everyone, they've got talent. I mean, Jamal Charles,
They're a lucky team, Ashish. Just say it. They're a lucky team. They're 26th in the NFL in passing yards, 12th in rushing yards. Jamal Charles should be having a ball, and he's just he's having a struggle this year. Opponent rushing yards, 109 rushing yards per game. And they're good at the passing game, don't get me wrong, because they're good at rushing the quarterback. But everything else, they're horrendous at.
So you're calling BS? You don't think this is a legit 7-0?
No way. No way.
I'm calling BS too.
They get
Just
so
the fact
lucky
that they're in front of the Broncos is BS right now. I mean, the Broncos are clearly the better team in that division, right? Even though the records don't say
course.
so.
Texans should have beat them this weekend.
You know what? I'm going to say
Come
not
on.
BS. Look, I don't care about a hard schedule, a soft schedule. If you're 7-0 and you've made it this far and have not yet lost a game, you're at least somewhat legit. Okay? Are they going to finish with a better record than the Denver Broncos? Absolutely not. Are they going to finish undefeated and the best team in the NFL this year? No way.
It's a fair point, though. That
Yeah,
you make.
but
I mean,
yeah, I
7-0.
no. Yeah, not BS. You're 7-0.
I mean, you play the games that are on your schedule.
You take them seriously,
and you're 7-0. But moving forward, you just don't have faith in this team if you're the Kansas City Chiefs.
You guys are just so what? We got 2 BSs and 1
BS,
not BS.
BS as BS gets.
I think it's BS that they have a worse record than the Broncos. I think that in that sense, it doesn't indicate the better team. That's all.
Oh, well, there you have it. So we all unanimously agreed on 1.
Totally.
Which doesn't surprise me at all. We're up against another break, but when we come back, we will have Luke Hughes of Nesson.com with us. You won't want to miss it. It's 1460 WXBR.
Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. I start laundry at 8. At 10, we go for a walk. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay, yay, yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip. Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Wildfires burn millions of acres across the country each year. And each year, wildland firefighters battle to contain them. But they can't do it alone. For some communities, it's not a question of if wildfires strike, but when. Get fire adapted. Learn what you can do now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
America had just gone to war when Felipe Adams volunteered.
I took a bullet to the side and left me paralyzed.
For Armando de la Rosa, the Navy was a chance to serve and see the world.
I got medically discharged in 2001.
For injured veterans like Felipe Adams, there are veterans like Armando de la Rosa ready to help.
Our training is to better the veteran.
Paralyzed Veterans of America, changing lives, building futures. Visit PVA.org.
This is a guided meditation on parenting. Take this time to breathe deeply and close your eyes. Right now, you're completely in control. Unlike the time you and your son played basketball and you attempted to slam dunk. Or when you tried removing those raccoons from the basement. Concentrate on the soothing sound of my voice. Release the memory of when you wrestled with that beehive in your son's treehouse. Let go of the time you thought that skunk was a cat. Or when you pulled into the garage with your son's bike on top of the car. Deep breaths. deep breaths.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Sports Blast on 1460 WXBR.
This is an environment of welcoming, and you should just get the hell out of here.
Check us out online at sportsblast.co.
Can I hear it again? Do you have time?
That's www.sportsblast.co.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Blast, 508-588-9927. That's 508-588-9927. Oh, I should have said WXP or whatever. We had Luke Hughes of Nesson.com was going to join us. We're having a little trouble locating Luke, so we'll just go ahead and move into our next segment, which is going to be Patriots-based, guys. Obviously, right now, we want to talk mostly about what just transpired on Sunday with Chris Jones, the rookie defensive tackle, filling in for Vince Wilfork, getting called for that late penalty when Nick Folk of the New York Jets was attempting the game-winning field goal in overtime, got tagged for it, 15 yards. Nick Folk, again, 3 plays later, gets to attempt a 42-yarder and nails it. What was going through your mind when you guys saw that?
It was a costly move by the referees for the Patriots, but it was the correct call. And I think that's what people are missing sometimes is, referees do make bad calls, but that was the correct call.
It was the correct call. My only issue with it is I don't like games being decided on calls like that, but I guess, it was sort of a newly introduced rule, right? The NFL sent out memos to their referees this past week after watching the Dolphins play Baltimore, and they're being told, look for this particular play. And it didn't happen until the Patriots-Jets game in overtime. Now, it kind of sucks that it happened at that point in time where it was such a huge point in the game. But, yeah, I agree, right call. I just wish that the game hadn't hinged on such a rinky-dink call, really, in my opinion.
I find it humorous that Coach Belichick actually got an email from, the referee, the league, actually, league offices, and letting him know that you better watch out for that call because they're looking out for it. And then the Jets actually tipped the referees and letting them know to make sure you keep an eye on that down the stretch. So,
but you know what was weird about that, Mark, is that the Jets, according to Bill Belichick, were doing that same thing. That happened on both sides of the ball in that game, and it was called only when the Patriots did it when the game was on the line. Now, I understand making the right call, but you have to at least call it consistently when you see it. You can't just call it when you feel like it. If it happened earlier in the game and then you get tipped off about it, to me, that's not right. That's not fair. And it cost the Patriots the game. So now this is going to be a situation where they're not able to do that anymore, and teams still employ that strategy where they have a guy from the second level push someone into the pile.
Now, do you really think the Jets' missed push call was actually a legit missed call? Because, the push with the Jets earlier in the game, I think it was Wilkerson. I forget who it was. They had a hand on the back, but they didn't push.
Right,
and that's where I figure out that the Patriots actually got caught because the guy pushed his lineman into the other lineman to have an advantage.
Yeah,
and I felt like the hand on the back really wasn't much.
Well, I think we actually do have Luke Hughes of Nesson now joining us. Dave's going to go ahead and put him on. But just to kind of go off your point before we put Luke on, Mark, is that sometimes you just got to swallow the whistle, just like in the NBA. There are certain times where late in the game you just got to let it go. So, that's something that was very interesting on that end. Now we have joining us from Nesson.com, officially Luke Hughes. Luke, are you there?
Oh, yeah, yes. Sorry about the wait, bro.
No, it's all right.
Well, Luke, before you got here, we were talking about the penalty that was called on Chris Jones that basically killed the Pats' chances at that comeback win and allowed Nick Folk the eventual game-winning field goal. Now, this is something that has happened several times this year in the NFL where guys from the second level have pushed guys into the pile, and it also happened a couple times during that game. Did you feel it was a little bit of an inappropriate time for the officials to kind of blow the whistle and throw out the flag on that play that eventually decided the game?
Yeah, I think it was definitely the right call. It's a hard pill to swallow for Patriots fans, just to hear that and to accept it. Especially when it did cost you an opportunity. It looked like Brady was pretty ready on the sideline. You don't know what's going to happen, so you can't really say that it cost them a win necessarily. But yeah, it's frustrating when you see that it happened so much during the season and different games. In the Patriots game against the Saints, I know that Chris Jones did the exact same thing on a field goal that the Saints were kicking. So you kind of see where the trend had originated throughout the season, and that they were supposed to be calling it, but they weren't. So it's definitely a frustrating, element to the game, and you can't really blame the officials since it was the right call. But I think that the timing was poor. Just if you're going to call it, maybe call it on a field goal in the fourth quarter, or call it in the first quarter, or at any other time. But if the NFL really wanted to make a statement, they obviously did, and now everyone's aware of the rules. So you never know really where these things stem from. Maybe they're saying wait for a prime time in the game to really get this thing firmed in as a rule, and that everyone's well aware of it.
Hey, Luke. So New England, they just re-signed defensive end Andre Cotter. What do you see his role being on the defense, and how do you think he might impact the defensive line?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big get for them. You don't know really where he's at right now. It seemed like at the end of the year last year, he was really coming together in Oakland, and he was starting to get back into solid form. But you're talking about a guy who's 34 years old. He's been in the league 12, 13 years, so there's a lot of miles on those tires, so you can't really expect too much. But coming in halfway through the season, you get 9 games out of him. I think that he can be kind of that third down pass rusher, the role that Mark Anderson played a couple years ago and really excelled in. I think he can help out with some of the depth. You have the opportunity now to move Chandler Jones over onto the inside a little bit if you want to play him there, fill in at the defensive tackle, and you can bring a reliable guy in Andre Carter in to fill the outside void. So I think it'll definitely help with a little bit more of the pass rush. Chandler Jones and Rob Ninkovich have been doing a great job, but it also offers some versatility for what they're going to do inside.
The Patriots, they've always been a team that's sort of kicked it into a second gear during the back half of the season. But this year, it kind of seems like maybe what you see is what you get. Do you think that this is the brand of football that we're going to see from the Pats, or do you think we might see them reach that second gear in the back half of the season?
Well, as the season goes on, they always tend to gel together. The big problem now is that, you're relying so much on your defense early in the season, and you lose a few key pieces. You don't really know when Aqib Talib is going to be fully healthy. He was probably the biggest playmaker on your defense this year. And you don't really know how the interior defensive line is going to hold up against the run. It didn't look too good against the Jets last week, so, you really got to figure that out. But, I think that, they're going to develop. The offense is definitely starting to come together. You see spurts. You see them, really come together where Tompkins and Dobson are getting on the same page with Brady at times. But, there's still a learning curve to be had, and I think that the more experience they get, not only in practice but on the field, and then you get healthy with guys like Amendola really getting back up to speed, Rain coming back. I think you're really going to see them start to flourish as, week 11, week 12, week 13 really rolls around.
Yeah, so Luke, Mark Loisel here. Miami's defense allows 269 passing yards per game, 25th in the NFL. Is this the week Tom Brady gets back on track?
Yeah, I think there's definitely an opportunity for it. You're talking about he was going up, last week against, some elite corners. Obviously, Cromartie shut down Tompkins. They had some good safeties back there. They also get some good, pass coverage from their linebackers. Talking about the Jets here. So, you're up against a pretty staunch opponent there. And now you come over and you got, Brent Grimes and then, pretty much a bunch of misplaced parts covering in Miami. So I think that there is an opportunity here for, a guy like Dobson. Keep calling him Dobkins. I'm not sure why. It's a combination of the two. But, for Dobson to really get open, he's been creating a lot of space for himself. And I think that this is an opportunity where Brady's really not going to feel as much pressure. Maybe the offensive line steps it up, a notch or two. and he's able to really get comfortable back in the pocket and find him when he's over the middle. You don't really know what Danny Amendola's status is going to be, if he's really over that concussion yet or not. But if he is, then I think that's a great option, as well as Julian Edelman. I mean, everyone seems to just be overlooking him because of, the emergence of some of these rookies and, Gronk coming back. But Edelman is still playing a big part in this offense, and I think that he could really play a big part in the slot this week.
Yeah, so speaking of pressure, in the aftermath of Ryan Tannehill getting sacked 26 times this season, the Dolphins went out and traded for offensive tackle Brian McKinney. Will the Pats signing of Andre Carter with the rest of the defensive line, do you think the Pats will be able to get the quarterback against the Dolphins this Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, they obviously showed a lot of pressure against Geno Smith last week as well. It seemed like, he was really bothered, especially in the second and third quarter, and even down the stretch there. Chandler Jones has been getting incredible pressure off the edge all season, and even on the interior when he's moved over. Same thing with Rob Ninkovich. I mean, he's really creating a lot of pressure. He's not really piling up the sacks quite as well, but I think they have a solid core in there. I mean, even Chris Jones, he's up to, 4.5 sacks already, and he's only played, 4 or 5 games. So there are some guys who can really get after the quarterback, and Carter will certainly help that. Again, like you said, Tannehill's been sacked, 26 times already, and it doesn't really seem like things are really going to get better. Brian McKinney is going to come in, and, he might provide a bit of an upgrade over Tyson Clabo, but how much, we're not really sure. He doesn't really seem like he's on the top of his game. He's not at that all-pro level like he used to be, or even where he was at the end of last season. So I think that, there's definitely an opportunity for them to really create some pressure, maybe force some turnovers. Tannehill's been really good with the ball this year, been very careful with it, but I think, you start pressuring him and really hitting him and throwing some licks on him. I think, he'll probably throw some wobbly passes.
All right, Luke, on a more humorous note, on NESN.com you had a top 10 gallery of Mayor Menino's most awkward moments. So we were all talking about the flub that he had with the Red Sox in the World Series Cup yesterday. So before we let you go, we just want to know, what is your favorite one of all time?
Oh, man, there's so many that are great. And, I've got to say, I think that, at a certain point, it had started out pretty, pretty naturally for him. It was just, some mess ups, and I think that over time maybe he started to hone in on him a little bit. PR staff saying, let's get this, let's get this out there. Let's fool around a little bit. Yeah, exactly. It's the fun stuff, and it's making him more likable. My favorite moment, honestly, was the Veritek splits the uprights. It seems so honest and so innocent. It didn't seem like there was any force there. It seems like now, with the Gonk and Weckler and whatever you're getting,
right.
There's a little bit more of a force behind it, but the Veritek through the uprights just kind of killed me.
All right, well, Luke Hughes of NESN.com, we really appreciate you taking the time, man.
Yeah, great talking to you guys. Have a good one.
All right, take it easy. We're going to take a break ourselves. We'll be right back here on the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR.
K-Men Cleaning Services Incorporated has been knocking out dirt and germs for over 57 years. Located in the City of Champions, K-Men Cleaning Service does it all. They specialize in the cleaning and maintenance of laboratory and healthcare facilities while dealing with delicate space and equipment. K-Men has over 45 years of experience working with banks and other financial institutions. Their staff is highly trained and educated to work with all the latest equipment to be able to meet all of your needs. They also provide a 24-hour answering service. For a free inspection and proposal, call 508-587-2287 today. That's 508-587-2287. K-Men is located at 55 Highfield Drive in Brockton. No one cleans it like the K-Men. 508-587-2287. 508-587-2287.
Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m. to give Dad his medicine. At 6 a.m., I make his breakfast. At 7 a.m., I shower. I start laundry at 8. At 10, we go for a walk. Every day, I wake up at 5 a.m.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Wildfires burn millions of acres across the country each year. And each year, wildland firefighters battle to contain them. But they can't do it alone. For some communities, it's not a question of if wildfires strike, but when. Get fire adapted. Learn what you can do now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
The traditional light bulb, a groundbreaking invention in 1879. It's time we switch to longer-lasting Energy Star light bulbs. They're more efficient than the old bulbs, like a text message is more efficient than a carrier pigeon. And they cut down on our energy costs. Because in our own groundbreaking age, we deserve a light bulb that saves us some cash. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
My dad came to live with us last month, and it's going pretty well. I feel like I never have time for myself. With him being around more, it really lets us catch up on things. His memory isn't what it used to be. We get up and we have coffee. He usually wakes up at 4:30. Then we go for a walk. He needs lots of my attention. I do need to keep an eye on his medications, though. That's important. Sometimes I feel like a pharmacist. I'd say John and the kids are adjusting pretty well. They honestly have no idea what I'm going through. It can be a little challenging, but so far so good. I could really use just a little help.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Time now for your WXBR Sports Blast headlines.
For the fourth time in franchise history, the Boston Red Sox will take on the St. Louis Cardinals. First pitch was at 8:07. The Red Sox have a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning in that one. Here are tonight's starting lineups for the Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury led off in center. Shane Victorino in right. Dustin Pedroia at second. David Ortiz is the DH. Mike Napoli at first. Johnny Gomes gets the start in left. Xander Bogaerts is in at third. Stephen Drew is the shortstop. And David Ross bats ninth at catcher. For the Cardinals, Matt Carpenter bats first and plays second base. Carlos Beltran is in right. Matt Holliday is in left. Adam Craig makes his postseason debut as the DH. Yadier Molina will catch. David Freese is at third. Matt Adams at first. Shane Robinson in right. Pete Cosma plays short and bats ninth. Rob Gronkowski made his 2013 debut on Sunday as the Patriots lost to the New York Jets 30-27 in overtime. The Patriots will play the 3-3 Miami Dolphins this Sunday at Gillette Stadium. Kickoff set for 1 o'clock. Chad Johnson got his first start in the net tonight as the Bruins wrap up a 3-game road trip tonight against the Sabres. Bruins lead that game 1-0 in the first period. And the Celtics finish up their preseason tonight at home against the Brooklyn Nets. Tip-off was at 7 o'clock. The Celtics begin regular season play on October 30th in Toronto against the Raptors. Those are your Sports Blast headlines. Be sure to check out our website at www.sportsblast.co and tweet us at 1460 Sports Blast. That's at 1460 Sports Blast. I'm David Pollard. Don't go anywhere. The Sports Blast continues right now.
You're listening to The Sports Blast with Ashish Sharma, Brian Roach, David Pollard, and Mark Lazell. Check us out online at sportsblast.co. That's www.sportsblast.co.
You know, guys, I think we should go to break more often because it started off really well. We went to break, and we came back here on the air, and all of a sudden the Red Sox have a 3-0 lead, courtesy of Chicken and Bacon McNapp.
The superstition is back.
Mike Napoli, and from what I heard, we actually have a guest joining us from Fenway Park. I believe it is our producer, Brian Roach. Brian,
yes,
are you there?
Here. Hello.
Hey, how's it going,
up,
buddy?
Brian?
Going good, guys.
We miss you.
It's kind of electric right now, so.
Yeah, well, you sound really calm over there.
How is it over there, Brian? Is it loud right now? I don't see many people
It's
standing.
not too loud where I am, but, you know.
All business, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got to see some Heidi Watney, you know.
Ooh.
There you go.
It's not bad. So, Brian, can you describe to us what exactly happened? Because while we were on the air, we saw that Mike Matheny came out of the dugout and was furious.
Yes, there was a bobble by, I think it was either the second base. I think it was the second baseman. He was covering second base, and the ball got out of his glove, like he didn't catch it. So first Farrell argued it. They went back. They came together, the umpires, and called him safe. Then Matheny went out and thought he was out, but in the end, the bases were loaded for the Red Sox. So.
That's awesome. So basically, what happened on that play? They called Dustin Pedroia out at second, right? That was the initial call. Then they reversed it, so his bases loaded with one out.
And that was Pete Kozma in the return.
Okay, so the shortstop, Pete Kozma.
Yeah, and they just showed a replay. He never had the ball.
Never.
No, it wasn't even close.
Yeah. Very interesting. And, I mean,
how's
this
the
is obviously
weather?
a very good start. How's the weather? Is that what you just asked?
It's a chilly night.
Freezing, man.
It's a chilly night.
Wait until tomorrow, and there's 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts here. But
Oh, man. Hey, you know what, Brian? You don't get to complain because you're at Game 1 of the World Series.
That's very true.
Yeah, like, we're sitting here. We're warm, but we really wish we could be there, too. Well, we should see if we can just do the show live from the next World Series game at Fenway.
That'd be fantastic.
Just set us up with a little booth. But anyways, Brian, we'll let you get back to watching this awesome game. Thanks for at least making an appearance here on the Sports Blast. Let me just say it's not the same without you. I love picking on you when you're here. So
we miss you, Brian.
Have a good rest of the show.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Later, man.
Oh, man. So that explains it. Because I remember we just got up from the break and went over to look, and I had no idea what had happened because they weren't showing the replays by the time we got there. I just saw Matheny arguing something. I saw the bases were loaded with one out, and then I saw Mike Napoli drilled one to left center and drove in 3 runs, and Poppy scored all the way from first.
How huge is that to go up 3-0
against Wainwright?
Against Wainwright, the guy that we don't
So
get to see the Cardinals that much, but to go out there in the very first inning against their ace and put up 3 runs is huge for this, at least for this game. I mean, Wainwright's not going to be in a good spot coming into the second inning.
Yep.
And now the Red Sox have the Cardinals where you'd always rather be up than down or even tied. This is right where the Red Sox want them. I can't wait to see what happens the rest of the game.
So Ellsbury started off the inning, I guess, with a walk, and then Victorino either, I think he grounded out, and then Pedroia actually had a single.
Okay.
And then Mike Napoli, Ortiz came up, and he
hit that ground ball.
Ground ball.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike Napoli comes up.
Napoli
and
lined in left center field, the gap. He shot the gap. But yeah,
Awesome.
I was watching the Pedroia at bat, and it was a lengthy at bat too.
Yeah. So pitch count's probably higher for Wainwright. 31.
Not bad.
31.
Beat him up, boys.
Especially
Beat him
after
up.
one inning, man. That's 31 in one inning. Hopefully we get to their bullpen pretty soon. We'll get to see if their bullpen is
how
as
good they really
people
are.
Say they are.
Yeah.
Because put them up against a wall.
They
That's
are
what
what
you
they
gotta do.
said. Was it?
No. We are who we thought they were. Swing and a miss, Mark. Eventually we will get that soundbite. That's a good one.
Yeah, go
ahead. That along with practice. What do we practice?
Talk about a game.
And then my other favorite one is playoffs? Playoffs?
Playoffs? Can't win a game. Playoffs?
Oh, man. But
that was Jim Mora, wasn't it?
That was Jim Mora, Sr. Yeah. So I mean, very
and
good
Dennis
start.
Green was...
Dennis Green was the other one. Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite ones was the Coors Light commercial where it's like, hey, coach, those guys that took your Coors Light, they went that way. And then he just storms off. And he's just...
I love the
the
Coors Light commercials where they dub in the coach quotes when the coaches are on the field and they're going down asking them about the Coors Light.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like we need the play. It's like double slant, left, 22. It's not working.
I got some questions for you guys, if you don't mind answering
Sure,
them
let's
about
do
the Sox. Because, I mean, we're talking about the Cardinals, Red Sox. It's great they're up 3-0. But prior to this game, we were wondering who has the advantages on certain elements of this series. So I'm going to lay them out to you. The advantages. Who has the starting pitching advantage?
I'm going to go with wow, it's very close.
Pretend that the Red Sox didn't just put 3 up on Wainwright. if you can.
You know, I'm actually... Wow, I'm going to stick with the Red Sox because as good as a front two that the Cardinals have, again, you're taking into account NL ball versus AL ball, and when you're talking about AL pitchers, I always think that they will be the more superior pitcher when you take into account the fact that they have to face a full lineup. They don't get a bailout every 3 innings, at the least, when they have to face the opposing pitcher. So I'm going to go with our rotation. I think Lester and Lackey, the way they're pitching, and then hopefully if Buchholz can bounce back and have a better outing, I think the Red Sox have better starting pitching than the Cardinals.
It's really close. I really think the Red Sox do have better pitching in the end. They can go. They have lengthier outings. They know what it takes to pitch in big game situations. You're talking about Michael Wacha, even Joe Kelly, Lance Lynn. Michael Wacha is a rookie, so I really think that the Red Sox pitching staff is more stable than the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of almost a wash for me. I'm going Cardinals because of Michael Wacha and Adam Wainwright at the top. But then when you look at the last two, you got Joe Kelly for the Cardinals. He's 0-1 with a 4.41 ERA. Lance Lynn is 2-1 with a 5.40 ERA. I think if Clay Buchholz and John Peavy can get their,
Jake Peavy
ish together. Jake Peavy, I meant to say. If they can get it together, then you've got a better 1-2-3-4 combination, I think, than the Cardinals do.
Yeah, Peavy was crap. I don't even know if he was going to play in this series. So they're still deciding on whether or not they're going to put him in the rotation.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough decision to make because Jake Peavy has really never been in this situation before. Never been to the World Series. Has he ever been in the playoffs?
Yeah, he was 0-1 right? with like an astronomical ERA. So he went in with with the Padres. But the thing is, the circumstances were kind of such that he already had a disadvantage against him. He was pitching with a broken rib,
right?
I believe, and I don't think he ever made a playoff appearance with the White Sox. I'm not sure about that. I think they might have both come with the Padres, but. Yeah, no, it's come down to a point where we're not sure if we're going to see PV again in this series, or rather in the postseason. But again, going back to Dave's original question, it is incredibly close when you are talking about the Red Sox starting pitching versus the Cardinals. But looking at the way the Red Sox were able to neutralize that Detroit lineup, which again hasn't been playing well. Miguel Cabrera was hurt. Prince Fielder wasn't doing anything for the entire postseason. But still, when you look at what John Lester was able to give you, when you look at what John Lackey was able to give you, and even Clay Buchholz, not even at his best, I'm gonna go with unbiased. I'm gonna go with the Red Sox starting pitching.
All right, we're kind of up against it right now. We got 1 minute. I'm gonna throw a couple at you rapid fire. Just give me the answer.
Let's do it.
Hitting. Who has the advantage?
Red Sox.
Mark?
Red Sox.
I go Red Sox as well. Bullpen.
If we're going exclusive, this one's close. When you have Koji Uehara and Junichi Tozawa and Breslow, Red Sox.
Yeah, does it get much closer to that?
Yeah. I wasn't including Uehara because the next one's closer.
I'm going to go Red Sox.
Okay, fine. You weren't including him? Then I would consider Cardinals for that one.
Yeah.
They have a good bullpen. Cardinals.
All right, and then closer. Who's got the better closer?
Koji. Red Sox. There's not even...
Can't doubt Koji.
Yeah, I'm going with Koji on that one.
All right, and X Factor.
X Factor, I'm going with Daniel Nava. I think he's going to get an opportunity to hit right-handed pitching. I know Johnny Gomes is pretty much the starter in left field right now, but I'm going with Daniel Nava getting his chance. I think he's going to come through when he does.
The Red Sox hit 263 against left-handed pitching. Problem is Cardinals don't have lefty starters, so against the righties they are 225. Red Sox will make most of going up against lefty bullpen pitchers.
All right, we are up against a break right now, so when we come back, we will be on the blast-off here on the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR.
You want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know you're probably just a little bit nervous. You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up! Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
America had just gone to war when Felipe Adams volunteered.
I knew what I was signing up for. I knew the consequences. I took a bullet to the side and left me paralyzed.
For Armando de la Rosa, the Navy was a chance to serve and see the world.
I got medically discharged in 2001.
Armando and Felipe were brought together by a unique organization that serves our paralyzed veterans.
If there was no PVA, it'd be a lot of confusion. Our training is to better the veteran. We help out with the auto grant, the special housing adaptation grant, education, prosthetics. Our main focus is spinal cord injury and disease, but we see anybody.
First thing he had asked me before he even asked my name was I being taken care of as a veteran? And I thought that was pretty good.
Changing lives, building futures. That's Paralyzed Veterans of America. To learn more, visit pva.org.
Me, a cat, moving in with a single guy. At first, I thought it might be a little weird, but turns out it's actually pretty amusing. For instance, like my human's gotten so used to me being around, sometimes I think he forgets I'm here. He'll get up for work, shower, shave, and come out with no pants. Plops right down in front of the TV. Hello, there's a lady in the room.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
T-minus 15.
We will go out with the bang.
Time now for blast off.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Good things must come to an end. Approaching stage 2 burnout at 115 seconds, followed by a 20-second slow stage. Stage 2 separation is stage 3.
On the line with the final whistle blows.
Stage 2 burnout. Stage 2 separation, stage 3 ignition. Stage 3 motor pressure is nominal. Vehicle attitude and flight path are nominal. Separation is confirmed.
We will not go quietly into the night. This ends now!
The Sports Blast, wrapping up your week in Boston sports every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m.
Welcome back to the Sports Blast. Final segment here at 508-588-9927. If you call now, we may just be able to squeeze in your calls. The Blast Off segment, guys. This is it. It is the last few minutes of our show, and we are loving this right now. It looks like John Lester had a quick 1-2-3 inning, if not something maybe a little bit more than that, and the Red Sox are back out there against Wainwright. So, you know, we went into the other room and watched a little bit of it, and it's looking pretty good.
It's a beautiful thing. Nothing gets better.
Oh, look at Dave. Look at Dave's reaction out there. He's in the other room. What just happened?
Listen, it's a minor miracle because Stephen Drew is on base right now. A 111 on base percentage, but here's how he got on base. Pop up in between the catcher and the pitcher. Wainwright comes in to field it. Molina goes out to field it, and it landed directly in the middle of them.
That is
the
awesome.
Cardinals
That is
are choking right now.
The baseball gods want the Red Sox to win the World Series. And I know it's only game one, but I don't think they could have gotten off to a better start. Again, like he said, Stephen Drew's on base. I think that's a win right there.
That is a miracle.
And it's incredible because, you know, Napoli starts off with the double, gets the 3 runs. But what is even more better is is better is the fact that Lester had a 1-2-3 inning.
Yeah,
So he
Lester
did
looks
have a
good.
1-2-3.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, all right. No,
Not in the first inning.
the one that was just prior to this coming back.
In the second inning.
Yeah,
1,
top
2,
of the
3,
second.
Gave up 1 hit in the first. No harm done.
And I don't want them to just, like during the ALCS, we got used to a lot of 1-run and 2-run games. I want them to obliterate the Cardinals.
Big
Usually in
time.
the regular season, I like these closer games and things like that. In the playoffs, spare me the blood pressure and the tension. I just want to see some of these blowouts.
Another hit right here by, let's see, that was David Ross. David Ross gets on base with a single.
Rossi.
It's now first and second.
Wow.
3-0 Red Sox in the second inning. No outs.
Wainwright.
Wainwright
that
is
is
not pitching.
surprising.
He's not pitching a good game right now, and shortstop almost had that one.
And I was actually prior to the show looking up some.
Give us the
Wainwright's-
play-by-play, Dave.
I was looking at Wainwright's stats prior to the game. Some of his splits actually against Red Sox players. He doesn't have a lot of experience against Red Sox hitting. Rather, I think I said pitchers. He doesn't have a lot of experience against Red Sox hitting.
And it's a
at
brand
all.
new
So,
team.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be as much as kind of a learning curve for him as it is the hitters, but it looks like they did their homework on Wainwright.
And you know what? Going forward, I really think this affects, the rookie pitchers because they're in a tough spot. If Wainwright actually, keeps this up and has a bad outing and continues all the, the fails, I really think that the rookie pitchers are going to be like, in awe, and they're going to be like, well, I have to step up, and I have to, help Wainwright bounce back, and we have to get back in this series. And that's a tough task to do in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about rookie pitchers trying to help out veteran pitchers. That's a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Oh, and by the way, I think something just happened over there. Looks like Jacoby Ellsbury flied out.
Jacoby Ellsbury fly out to left field. Still
I
first
thought that
and
was going to
second.
drop.
First and second, 1 out now.
Yeah, and just kind of to piggyback off what you're saying, Mark, you have a lot of young guys on that St. Louis team. Looking at the Red Sox, it's mostly built around veterans.
Yeah.
And if they can use some of the younger, untested guys like Workman, and I guess Franklin Morales is somehow still on this roster.
Xander
If they
Bogaerts.
can, yeah, but Bogaerts has actually been doing something. Franklin Morales, who's not a rookie, but who's just sucked. In the last time he played, use him if you get something like a big lead
Like a
in this series.
6-0
Yeah,
lead in
no
the
need
fourth
to use
inning,
Breslow
right?
or
Yeah.
Tazawa or Uehara.
You
Come on.
definitely want to save your big arms for big moments. I don't even know if I would trust Morales with a 7-run lead right now.
That's too close. That's too close to
Yeah,
throw him out
it's
there.
way too.
He's probably going to load the bases and then walk in a run.
And aside from Workman's, good outing, replacing Morales and Buchholz in Game 6, Workman really wasn't stellar this year. He gave up runs, key runs, in the top of the seventh. I mean, in the 7th inning or the 8th inning, he just really he stuck out as a strong competitor down the stretch rather than in the middle of the season or in the beginning.
Yeah, I totally agree. And here's the thing about the Red Sox, and my X factor was grit, which you don't usually see in baseball as being something that can get you anywhere in this league. But the Red Sox step up when it matters most, and they've had all of their players, all their important pieces, are stepping up when it's the big moment to step up, and that's why they're in the World. Look at the 2 Grand Slams, Victorino and Ortiz. That's why they're in the World Series, because they have a feeling for the big moment, and they know how to execute.
Yeah, and Tom Brady was actually asked his prediction for the World Series, and I think he picked the Red Sox in 5 games. I actually laughed at that, and I said, no, this is going at least 6 or 7. It probably will. But my hope is that they will be able to wrap it up in 5, because that is, or at least in 4, which would mean it would end on Sunday or Monday, which means the next time we come on the air, they'll be world champions. Hopefully, again, I don't want to put anyone, knock on wood. But I'm just saying, we're overly optimistic right now. It's only game 1 and they have an early lead. But this is a very good St. Louis Cardinals team. They could come back at any point and take control of this series. But it's got to feel good right now looking at the way things have gone so far in this game.
And how the Red Sox have been playing this playoffs, like Dave said, the grit, just the intensity, every game, pitch by pitch mentality. They just bring it. They bring their A game every time they step on the field, whereas defensive outings or putting runs on the board, they just do it. The strong pitching. The Cardinals, man, if they can't bounce back from this, all these errors, mental errors, it's not good. It's not good for the Cardinals.
All right. So
Bad news for the Cardinals.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and we're watching, and we will definitely be interested to see what happens. Hopefully, we have Brian Roach back with us next week if this does not extend to a Game 6. But we certainly will see. We're looking forward to it. In the meantime, go Sox.
The Pats or Dolphins?
This week?
Yeah.
I'm going Pats.
I'll go Dolphins just for Dolphins' sake.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
way more excited
For
about the Red Sox.
For God's sake.
Fins up, baby. Fins up.
Oh, man. All right, for everyone here, thanks, Dave, for producing in Brian's absence. Mark, and I'm Ashish Sharma.
Always
Thanks
a pleasure.
And thank you, Luke Hughes, for coming on today.
Big thanks to Luke Hughes from Nesson.com. We will see you next week. We are out of here. Go Sox.
The preceding was an independently produced program. The views expressed therein were not necessarily those of WXBR 1460 AM, Azure Media LLC, their staff, or management. They were strictly those of the hosts, guests, and callers.